"Why are you asking me?" the creature demanded, glowering at me from under greasy, dark brown bangs. "I wasn't the one who screwed up last time." "You got mugged last time." "You shouldn't have left me alone," he complained. "London is a dangerous city, doubly so in the Victorian age." "You're a demon lord. How the hell you managed to get beaten up?" "A demon lord without magic." "By a handful of street thugs who didn't even have—" "Wait, what?" He scowled at me. "Why do you think I'm carrying this?" He slapped the side of the leather man purse he'd brought along, because I guess incubi are more secure in their sexuality than most guys. Or maybe there was another reason. He'd pulled the little patch out of it that had provided my glamoury earlier. I hadn't stopped to wonder about it at the time, being too busy already wondering how to get into my multi-layered Victorian outfit. But now it occurred to me that maybe a demon lord shouldn't have to carry around his magic, and shouldn't have the crap beaten out of him quite so easily. "In their infinite wisdom, the Demon Council decided to put a dam on my power," he confirmed bitterly. "They worried about what I would do to some of them, back in time with both foreknowledge and magic intact. Not being able to deprive me of the former, they restricted the latter, something that becomes a problem when one is set upon by 6 huge brutes." I didn't waste time pointing out that it had been 3 the first time he told that story, because deflating his ego could wait. Something else couldn't. "Then what about the counter spell?" I hissed. Rosier and I were putting up with each other because we had a common goal: to save his son from obliteration. Pritkin's 21st century body was back where it belonged, and in decent shape despite being hit by a deadly curse. But only because it hadn't been the target. His soul had. The demon spell had sent his spirit sliding back through the eras of his life, and would destroy it once it reached the beginning of what had been, thankfully, a very long existence. At least it would, unless we put the counter curse on him first. But that wasn't my job. I'd done my job. Flipping us through time after the wildly careening soul, which didn't have anything like a steady, predictable path. It jumped here and there, like a piece of flotsam in the rapids, catching only occasionally on some bit of time's shoreline, before being snatched off again a few minutes later. And now the one person who could stop it was telling me he couldn't cast the damn spell? "Of course I can," Rosier said acidly when I pointed this out. "They had to leave me that much, or what's the use in my coming?" "Nothing as far as I can—" "But that's the only one." I stared at him as his meaning sunk in. "You mean that's the only spell you can do?" He gestured at his bruised ribs. "Obviously." But what if we run into trouble?" "Well, you're a witch, aren't you?" "No! No, I am not a witch. How many times do I have to—" A hand reached around my shoulders and clapped over my mouth. "Keep your voice down. That is not a popular word in this era." I shut up, because he was right, and because I didn't have a choice. And eventually, Rosier decided to let me breathe again, but just so he could interrogate me. "What do you mean, you're not a witch?" "I mean, I don't do witch stuff," I whispered. "I do Pythia stuff. That's why I have bodyguards." Only there was a limit to how many people I could take along on my jaunts through time, since every person added to the already considerable strain. So I'd left my guards at home, assuming that a demon lord could protect me, only to find out that he couldn't even do that for himself. "What do we do if we're attacked?" he demanded. "That's what I just asked you." "You couldn't have mentioned